Hi everyone. Notice the starting soon feature, I hope. Well, I figured it'd be super helpful in doing these podcast streams. Oh boy. Okay. Well, it's been a long week to where I don't even know how the hell to start these anymore. Well, luckily, I have this. Now, I'll look for a specific one, but yeah, it's been one long week for me. Just a long week. Sometimes I don't even know, like, what's up or what's down right now. You ever feel like you're so tired, you can't really even think straight, where you're typing something and then you realize that when you're checking your work later, your typing just feels all jumbled and you're like, why did I write that again? That happened to me while I was checking my notes earlier. When I'm doing these podcasts, I like to check my notes to make sure that I'm always on track. That's why I try to keep things on track as much as possible. They're not always the most simplest or easiest ones ever. And trying to find out isn't easy either. Here's one. I'll decide to read a poem for you all today. If you haven't heard this one before, this is one I've made on my own, but I think this fits perfectly with maybe why people would ask me this question. And I hope this poem answers that for you. Why I teach. Teachers don't get paid well. Teachers are needed more and more. Why do I teach? First, why the doubt? Teaching is just learning the ways of life, then passing it down. But there is more to it than a terrible picture. People come across a teacher in life. Teachers teach the future. Future leaders, future politicians, future artists and cooks, future teachers even. I teach to shape the future. A small part of life, but so important. I teach to have a chance of helping others shape lives. It's not fancy as a doctor, not as important as being a lawyer or a nurse. But it should be who I taught those doctors and lawyers. But it should be who taught those doctors and lawyers, teachers, who taught those politicians, teachers, who taught artists and cooks, teachers. Doubt my dreams to teach? Wait, don't doubt my dreams to teach. Don't think for a second you don't want to admit. Don't think for a second you don't want to admit that teachers should shape lives. I teach to have a hand at teaching, to pursue a dream, to press forward and never give up. Life has teachers. Teachers have learning has always evolved and changed over time. I teach to be a part of that change. I learn from their students. I teach to learn how each generation adapts to things beyond them. I teach to pass knowledge down to bring hope for the future. And that's how I'm going to start this episode. That's how I'm just going to choose. But it is true. It is so true. Forgive me, but I need some caffeine for the stream. Yeah, that's the reason why I teach. And I feel like that poem is so important now, because back then when I wrote that poem, I had very little experience, very little exposure to the classroom. Watch this. On the page. Okay. So, yeah, basically, when I wrote back then, I was very passionate. So I am passionate. It's just, it's amazing how that still applies even now, this week especially, because this is like only the second week, and I feel very, very much reassured in life. Reassured, like, I know for certain the moment I walk through that door, I feel important. And this is exactly where I want to be. In the classroom, helping kids, teaching them, just being there. Seeing their smiling faces as they go throughout the day. That's enough to put a smile even on my face. It helps to have a really good mentor teacher that is so good. Alright. Let's start with the beginning. Monday. Monday was, well, I was at home, so it was mainly an online thing, so there isn't really too much to really say here. I mainly just caught up with my groups that I had for that week, for this week, and this past week. Because on Friday I had to present for both of my classes. Yay. Alright. Oh my. I tried so hard to get my part right, but at the first second, this you need to rehearse, even if you're not rehearsing with your group. That way you don't feel like it. That way you do feel confident afterwards. Like, oh yeah, I actually don't feel like I fibbed up all my words, or I messed up how I'm speaking. This is why you need to practice. Practice makes perfect. Or so I've heard. I just practice all the time. But yeah, it's mainly just getting things together, figuring out what to do, just going from there. And mainly that day, I was just thinking about how do I want to prepare my interview. I was going to do it on Tuesday. Well, not Tuesday, but I decided to push it back to Thursday so I can think about what questions I'm asking and understand the assignment. I think that alone helped get the assignment close to my favorite. So I tried. The report part was kind of where it took a bit of time to turn in, and I was recording in the middle of the night, last night, so I was just tired and exhausted. As you could tell from the title, you probably realized that it's been one of those long weeks for me. But I'm getting there. Tuesday was... I felt like this week just blurs a bit. I led a language arts warm-up. So, what happened was they have worksheets. Okay, first of all, I am always annoyed with worksheets because I always feel like teachers like to just use them as a scapegoat. But this is not the case with my mentor teacher. She kind of helped change my mind a little bit, because she uses the worksheet not as an scapegoat, but just as a helpful tool to help them understand things like language or math in different ways. Plus, it helps that she took this idea from Instagram, so it's not like it's just a worksheet that she was given and then works with it. No, she actually tries to use it as more of a tool to help them understand. What's also interesting is that she allows us to use highlighters, pens. Yeah, 4th grade classroom, they use pens. Why? Because that's how they are. Yeah. So that's great. It's not just, oh yeah, you only have a pencil, you don't use it. No. I'm guessing she taught her classroom how to use the pens, which one was which, and which folders. Basically, how to organize and goes with. Luckily, it was just a simple warm up of writing down an assignment for something. And then I had to draw what was essential, and ironically, we were all talking about coffee. It was so hilarious because the kids were just picking up on the conversation. It was just funny. It was just funny. And I was drawing, so let me switch it. So let me use the drawing thing. So I was drawing something like this, but coffee cups are really hard for me to draw. But I think I got it handled. So something along like this. Why is it orange? No idea. I just wanted it to be brown, but whatever. You get the idea. I was drawing something like that. And they noticed how amazing of a drawer I am. To be fair, I'm not it's compared to the professionals, this is I have very good visual. Okay, let's when I draw, I just draw. I don't really think about whether I'm good at it, I just enjoy it. So I never really thought about it until more people pointed it out to me. Noticed how creative I am, how much of a visual learner I am. Because even on Friday, when I was showing the pictures, they appreciated, my classmates appreciated a more my part was, which is super helpful when you need to present your point. So I'm starting to notice more and more people really seem to like the fact that I'm a creative and visual person, which I've never really thought of. Mostly because I don't think I get too many compliments on that specifically. They mentioned, yeah, the kids sometimes come up to me. I noticed that the kids like to come up to me, whether to show me more about Magic Treehouse books, which makes me smile because I think they really love those books, which makes me super happy because I have a chance to read to them those books or some line would make my day. With this class, they really seem to like reading, which is a really, really good thing. I don't know where these. I don't know why they love reading so much. They must come from families that read to them a lot, and I praise them on too many families like do that, which people should, and I would encourage it. You'd be surprised what happens if you're just reading a physical book. And maybe just background music if you really like me and stand silence. I mean, seriously, I can't stand silence at all. You guys may not be able to hear it, but there's background music behind me. It's at a very low volume to where I can hear it and you guys can't. My DMCA. The damn DMCA. It's gonna be the death of me. Anyway. They like to use the magic dress as an attention getter for me to get my attention, which obviously works. I can do the whole thing, but can you blame me? It's one of the books I really love. Or the book series I really love, but long story short, I kind of seen it as childish because it was not at my grade level, or I was either my grade level or past my grade level, and I couldn't read it. But I always get one book for my grade level and another for myself. I mean, that's how it worked at the elementary school I went to at the time. Yeah, enough about that. Speaking of reading to them, I read to them again another book called Sir Simon. Such a cute. Gosh, this was so cute. Basically, it was the concept of a ghost being scaring as a professional. It's such a cute book. I recommend looking it up and reading it. It's so adorable. I was able to use voices again. That one lasted a bit longer, and I think a few of the kids were like, it was getting long, so I tried. On the break, while everybody was on recess, it was lunch. The high kids. So the school is basically K through maybe TK through 12th. So basically elementary, middle school there. Okay, got that. Preschool had a broadcasting club or group. The only thing I knew was I saw a bunch of junior high students using a camera, a microphone, like as if they were just interviewing people for television. And I'm sitting at my little corner. So I'm gonna flip back here. Oh well, I erased it for me. That's nice. Good to know. So let's say the teacher's little table's right here, or just over here, and I'm somewhere right here. Right here with their tiny little camera. And my teacher's right here. Sitting right here. Watching it all happen here. I love this draw feature. It's so fun. Yeah, so basic little drawing right there. So you're not talking about here pointing the wall. I'm talking about where to the right of me. So your right. Anyway, my point being this. They were all just using the to interview her from here. I got to know a little bit more about her. That doing this for at least 10 years, which is awesome because that means she's seasoned but still open-minded, which is a good thing. Anyway, what's impressive is that, one, the school is active, so the more impressive matter is that they have a broadcasting group, that they have a club for broadcasting, and they're interviewing my mentor teacher, which is awesome. So amazing to see, because when I was in high school, even in junior high, this did not exist. This did not exist, which shows maybe a little bit more on the character of my school, and it's just very sad, very much annoying, and to the point where you're kind of just questioning, why didn't they have this? I mean, it was late aughts, or late 2000s, early 2010s. What was... yeah. Kind of did my earlier episodes for that one. If not, I'll question it again another time. Using Instagram as a source of inspiration for the classroom. Yeah, basically I mentioned this earlier, so I'm just going to skip that. While we were doing Sir Simon, after I read Sir Simon, it's in the ARB, which is means for Accelerated Reader. The fancy way of saying, oh yeah, you read the book, let's take a test. So after that, everyone was taking their quiz. My mentor teacher told me, hey, could you go help Lars. That's not the child's name, but for privacy reasons, I'm going to change the name. So, Lars. Now, Lars, when I knew he was different from his behavior, but I just thought maybe he just had a difficult time maybe a difficult time in class more. Maybe he was like me. I usually have a hard time. I think when I was a kid, I had a hard time focusing, so I didn't want to assume he was special needs, but it was kind of clear there was something he was having more difficulty, so that was very clear to me. But I think eventually Lars is technically a kid that should be in special ed classrooms. And I immediately knew what that meant. That, yeah, I was right. And I'm a special needs kid myself. So, of course, I'm gonna make that up really quickly. Like, so quick. So, I'm helping Lars with his accelerator. I'm just reading the question and the answers. I noticed he wasn't. I noticed the okay. And I noticed what he answered made me see more of why he's so he should be in the special ed classroom. Why he should be in that. Why he should get some help. He has some help, but somehow there are complications, so we're just stuck with trying to have it be as much as possible getting help. So there's hope somewhere. So I kept my assumptions to myself. To help read to Lars as much as possible. I'm gonna go from there. Okay. happened that day. This shocked me. Elect. We're gonna say elect as a way of changing the name and making sure it's private. Elect kids read Wonder, and they're supposed to do an assignment based off of it, like an art project. Now, they could have done a brochure, a diorama, or a mini movie. And I'm not talking about, like, editing or stuff like that. No, I'm talking about, like, actually making little slides and stuff, like those old films. So, I would have, like, little so something like this, but the way she made it was a little bit different than that. So all of the other ones have, like, dioramas. I have to keep moving the dioramas off my area, which is right here, because they keep putting the dioramas in this specific area, so I have to move it all the way over to the side of the room, which is, like, right here. But what Scarlet Elect. What Elect did was made a mini set. My MT, my mentor teacher, told me no other over the years have ever made a mini movie before, which shocked me because the fact that only one in her entire time there has ever done it, and it was actually well made. From, like, paper having tubes that literally will turn the paper to the next slide, to the next scene. It was like an old puppet, but replace the puppets with a phone, and you pretty much, it was a stroke of genius. I couldn't help but be amazed, and I immediately thought of my art professor again. I think out of every single teacher, she's the one person I keep wanting to keep in contact with the most. That I could talk to. Basically, there's always a group of touch with one professor. I think I found mine. Not really by. It was more of a spur of a feeling I just went for. I don't know if it's because of this program or if it's just me. More to reflect on that. I'll have to reflect on that more later. Yeah, so it was a stroke of genius. I took a picture of her assignment, or her little mini thing, a story to my professor over an email, and she loved it. My professor was so happy that I'm having a good time in my placements. And I'm just happy to have that a professor I can back to and tell all these amazing things with, and just basically say, hey, this is what's happening there. Because where I have similar energy, I'm not even kidding. I literally think God's there to have like a good time, which astounds me. Never really thought about that before. Okay. Alright. Long Tuesday. I guess Tori Mori. Enter. Look it up. Tori and I haven't been Tori and I have been super busy. And she's been busy with her life stuff, so I haven't had the chance to really like sit down and out. And I was now rearranged this like in the so it's kind of like you're so overwhelmed you don't even know what to do. So again, with the concept of a bucket, because how fills your bucket. Now, if we're talking about schoolwork alone, I'd say the bucket is right about ready to spill. You know what I mean? Kind of like about ready to spill. As well as physics, and basically goes through the thing. I'm just kidding. But yeah, basically, it's just so filled that both of us are just overwhelmed. Like, you work so much, you're just tired. You feel like you exist. And somehow you forgot what fun feels like. That happened. And I'm just sitting at home when I'm talking to Vic, and we're both, hey, let's hang out. So yeah, we both decided to hang out because she tries to have days on side placement, and we're basically close by. So I'm like, let's talk, let's chill. Come on, let's hang out. We went shopping. Stuff, so just things that have been going on. And it was really nice because it has been such a long time since, or been about maybe a month or two, which is crazy because we would like almost every other week, I think. We hang out when we can. It just feels like she's caught up in something important that I can't bother her with, like in the credential program, and I'm basically doing this teaching stuff, and I'm overwhelmed with what pressure I have. But I registered for one of my tests today. I'm getting that started and waiting to hear when it is because I am taking it online, and as far as I know, if I can take it any time, that'd be great. But I just take it one itty bitty step at a time, one itty bitty time. Either way, that much closer. Because once I get the CBEST done, waived, over with, I will be doing the CSEP and studying for that. Yay. Okay. But yeah, for going shopping, I got a new stone necklace, which is so beautiful and pretty. I love, they're one of they're a store where stone necklaces from. Because I love wearing them to, work. Yeah, I'll call it work. Like my placement. because a good conversation starter, first of all, and second, it's derogatory. It's basically a stone. You can learn basically from a stone. I think it's just if I bring that, it's not really inappropriate. It's just a stone or a crystal or whatever that day. So it's not like anything. It's just something I decided to wear. And I think there's just pieces to wear anything with. I'm not wearing it right now. I'm wearing a Corella around my neck. Anyway. To be watching more of season 5 of The Mask is a bit behind. We like to watch, that's why we don't hang out all the time, so it's kind of hard to do that. But hey, luckily they don't delete all the seasons like they do with The Voice, so that's nice. Thanks, Fox. But yeah, it was nice. It was great. It was like what happened before the pandemic happened. Before things got really busy and overwhelming. Wednesday wasn't really much noteworthy. It was just more group stuff. Thursday, placement again. Okay. Thursday, placement. My MT decided to. My MT usually does think outside the box Thursdays. Something she also clever. Basically, this time it was just a part of the bat. So one was just battling. And you're supposed to draw whatever except the bat. So one of the kids, Charles, let's say. Charles drew a shark. And that was brilliant because he used the wings as the teeth. I didn't even think about that. That was just genius. And the other, like, you kind of just covered the page and just did, like, covered in, like, black and just did Among Us and stuff. Kind of like, they said they got something wrong, didn't say. And just show you part of the wing. You're just basically work with it. This kid, decided to go a different direction. I took pictures of both of them because I thought they were brilliant. Day. It was just one of those really long days. My MT decided to order coffee for herself and for me. Now, this never happens to me. Alright? If we're talking about it in a school setting, I don't remember a time where I was actually given or like saying, hey, I'm ordering something. What do you want? Outside? Yeah, sometimes. But in school, that's like a rarity. If that has happened, probably wasn't memorable to me. Which may be sad, but it might mean that it doesn't happen often, and it might have been too long for me to remember that it happened. It's been so long that I really don't remember it at all. Ugh, it was just so fast, so long. I was talking to people left and right. I didn't really get a chance to sleep. Because on Friday, I just crashed. I'm going to explain that more in a minute. But yeah, she ordered coffee for me, which was great. We had Starbucks. It felt really nice to be on the other side of that situation that I got coffee. I usually bring caffeine because I'm always prepared when it comes to like trying to stay awake and trying to stay hydrated and always trying to stay fueled in terms of food. But you know, with the rush of the day, it just goes by that fast. 1 minute you're teaching, next minute you're hungry, and you only have a brief moment to eat, and then oh, bell rings, done. That's why I usually eat the rest of my lunch when I get home. Also, Thursday was the day I decided to interview Cyrus. I had to use a pseudonym, basically another name. That's why I'm saying I'm using this concept for the other kids, so I don't say their names accidentally. No worries, I'll come up with some kind of a better system than this, I promise, guys. And girls and people. Yeah. So for my math class, I'm supposed to interview a child with my own questions I made and make a report on it. I didn't get to the report until Saturday, and I had to turn it in sometime before today at 8:30. I basically did the best I could do under sharp. But you know, I tried. Anyway, the interview went well though. I just hope that the report was enough for my teacher to get. If it was if I was to turn in the video, that would be great. Right. Sorry, kind of zoomed out for a second. There's just a lot of other things on my mind right now that I need to sort out. But yeah. One of the things my math professor did warn me about was that when you're interviewing one of the kids, the other kids are just gonna want the same thing. But the limit was 1 minimum. I could have interviewed more, and I probably should have, just because I could, and maybe that would have made my report more of a standout way. I could have maybe worked with multiples, but I stuck with what I knew, what I felt comfortable with, and what I could do under a short period of time. So I went with Cyrus. It went super smooth. If you're interviewing kids, it doesn't always go smooth, depending on the age range. Cyrus was well behaved, and I think it also helped that I allowed him to use a whiteboard and marker for this because I think that's something he's comfortable with, and that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. So yeah, something he could be comfortable with while interviewing. That was even one of my questions in the report. Why did you allow these materials? Mainly just for comfort. Because if I were to be in his position, I would rather work with my tools, whatever I'm familiar with, to help me think. And that's mainly the point. I want him to have access to whatever he's comfortable with, because whatever he's comfortable with is how he's going to be able to express and think better. And that's probably what I should have explained, but, you know, it was the middle of the night and I couldn't think straight. I think you all can relate. But it made me so happy because because I felt needed. Like, everybody wanted my attention. And they're like, I want to be interviewed. I want to be interviewed. it's kind of funny how I'm like enjoying how everybody wants my attention because I'm used to feeling like everybody sees me in the back of the room and nobody pays attention. Somehow, the eyes of children, they see me as a person. I don't know what it is, but they see me as a person. So that's enough for me. One of the other things I noticed now, when I was actually presenting in my group, because we're talking about Rick Morris, and one of the things that he introduced was the concept of student numbers, which I will try to explain. So, let's say you have 32 students. So, you have students. Let's just draw 3 of them. And they're given a number. That's their personal number. It's going to go on their laptops. It's going to go on their textbooks. It's going to be everywhere. Why? It is a simple organization tool, and it's a good, helpful tool for students. Now, you can place these also in their tags. So let's say there's a tag here, tag here, tag here, tag here. Their numbers here will go in these little tags by their names. And so and so. 2 and so and so. You get the gist. The point of it is, I noticed my MT. I know this is probably, you can't really see all that much. You know what? We're just gonna do this. My MT does not have white hair, but the C back have white change. So my drawing skill, as I said, depending on what I'm drawing, it's either good or not. She gave herself a number. Let's see, this isn't the number she gave, but I'm being unrealistic, so you guys don't know too much. Yeah, that sucks. Okay. So she gave herself a number, which I thought was pretty noteworthy. Because if you're assigning yourself the teacher as a number, it'll give them an example of what to put on their papers, and also to kind of help with this organization as well. Sort of going a step further. I noticed that my mentor teacher goes a step further than what is usually planned, or like usually done. Which ties into what I'm going to say next. Tuesday, I explained the concept of book bits, which was something we did on Monday. Because Sunday night, I got a quote. It was an incomplete quote, because it was part of a dialogue. I didn't know what the book was, I just knew it was a context, and that was basically that was the point. You only got a quote. Then you work with the quote. Gather ideas, whatever ideas come to mind just from this quote. It was a stroke of brilliance. So I shared it with my MT. And my MT, mentor teacher, loved it, wanted to work with it and see how it goes. So, Thursday, we tried it out. So we had 4 quotes picked. Now, we mainly were going to work with 2, but we only worked with 1, and that seemed to work really well. I think we may have been a little too ambitious. Like, really ambitious. But it worked. We worked with 1 quote. I went with what my MT recommended because it made sense. And we worked with what was familiar. I wanted to go with a few codes, but, you know, her classroom, we go her first. I mean, that's how I think. I know she was pretty flexible, but, you know, it's still her classroom by the time I'm going. Might as well be fair. In that context. Anyway, we worked with a quote, and we introduced what was going to happen. We gave a quote, they gave ideas, I write them down, and then we discuss about it in some way. My skin is really dry. I need to put lotion on later. Worked really, really well. Oh yeah, and the quote can't give the book away. So you had to really skim through the book and find a quote that doesn't give too much away, but it gives enough to spark ideas. That could be anything. Try a Harry Potter book? Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Because guarantee you some of those kids probably have read that book by now. Some of them either read the book or know nothing. If you get a lot of people that don't know nothing, be very, very happy about that. Anyway. So, and it should spark ideas. Our quote pretty much did. Every student contributed ideas in some way and form. I think there were a lot more hands up. There were a lot more ideas being contributed. I was writing down with as much space as we could, and there's space on there. Let's go with that. And what was even more impressive was Lars, the special needs kid I mentioned. He contributed to the conversation, contributed ideas, which impressed my MT. Meaning that this told her this could work at any level. Doesn't matter where they were in the spectrum because you're just giving ideas. Which made me really happy to hear towards the end of the day because it meant my ideas was brilliant. But I'm getting a little too ahead of myself. He grounded ideas, and my mentor teacher went with this list of ideas, and as they were reading, they went over this again. So they kind of used it as sort of an outline of what they were going to be see. Like they used it as sort of a idea of what to look for. If their ideas were right on there or not. And that was brilliant. Because I didn't think about that. She did. She was like on top of it. Like she knew how to make this work. I just knew how to make it start. I knew how to start it. And she rolled with it. Which impressed me. Point where she took the idea and made it adaptable to the classroom and with her class. And it impressed me. What was even better was that she told me she was going to introduce this to her other teachers, to the other teachers she works with. That put a smile on my face because it meant I am brilliant. Okay, maybe I came up with a brilliant plan, a brilliant idea that she saw that works and decided to share it with the others, and I'm so happy. And the only critique was that I didn't speak loud enough. Okay, that's usually... Okay. Last episode, I was far away from the mic. I was not aware of what the position of the bed was going to be in terms of mic issue. My bad. But if my voice is low, there's reasons. In this case, it was confidence. A confidence issue. Because it was a confidence issue, that's why my voice was low. Because I don't know what the plan is and I should be on top of things. Another thing is that I feel like I should be on top of everything, but I feel like I doubt myself almost half of the time. Another reason why I wanted to hang out with Tori was because I was so overwhelmed with everything. And I was just about right in the low spectrum. Like, my bucket was so filled, it was about to spill. That's what was going on, and I just needed to breathe. To, like, step away from the work before it got to me. And I think a lot of you can understand that. But yeah, that made me happy. Okay. Oh! Now, I'll go back to this again. I'm gonna use yellow this time. Now, actually, let's say the street, let's say the school's right here, and the bus is right here somewhere. So the first bus is like here, and somehow turn here, and then somehow the stop's like right here. I don't remember the road enough to know the shape to draw this, but now there's like an intersection. I don't know. Basically, it's a street, and I'm dropped off here, and there's no seating area, so I have to walk all the way over to the light to where right around. So let's make this. Here is the seating area and the stop. Now there's a McDonald's right here. While I'm waiting there. So while I'm in the midst of the stop, I ran into this post on Instagram telling me, basically saying, this concept of hugs in a jar. Because I noticed this, and I remembered a conversation that me and my mentor teacher had about not being able to touch the kids because of COVID and the whole, oh yeah, we can't touch because we're in California and we can't do that. Like I said, I am not going to go political on this, but I have that's a whole bag of worms I am not going to open. We're going to put those back in the shelf and then push the shelf far away and make sure we never touch that. Ever. Okay, never is a strong word, but let's put it this way. I'm trying to not make it about politics. Okay? I'm not going to touch that unless I feel like I want to talk about something important. I mean, when we're talking about teaching, that's basically borderline politics, but I'm mainly talking about my life, so I'm trying to avoid that conversation as much as possible. You do not want me to talk about that. I have a very different opinion about that. If I have not mentioned that already. But yeah, there are these little hug signs. They're like really, really tiny. Like, maybe this, but with the actual words of hugs and not like in a sheet of paper. I'm gonna keep this for later. And I thought that was a brilliant idea because we can't touch, but why not just give the little tokens of hugs? the kids will love it. And it's a good way of saying, yes, we care about you. Yes, you can have a hug, but I can't touch you, so here you go. Basically a form of saying, I care, and I'm trying to find a way to show my expression. That I do care. Before I even sent it, I sent the post first. And I basically just said, can we do this? And she was already immediately on board with it. I think she saw the post, went to order it, and then when I asked the question, she's like, girl, I got this. Do you want to introduce it? I'm like, now I'm thinking right on the spot, I'm like, yeah, sure. Then it took me into the second, like, oh crap. I'm like, what? It took me that much to realize I'm just rolling with the punches. That's who I am. I can roll and adapt. But it's kind of like big change, like moving. Yeah, that's not an easy thing to process. Especially since I'm very comfortable being here. Moving to another state, that may be ideal right now, but I don't know. I think right now I just want to get the credential part, and after the credentials, that's when I can plan my life. But I don't know how that'll work outside of things, but oh boy. Anyway, yeah. So I decided, yes, I was going to introduce this since I basically noticed this. She ordered them, and this basically told me I'm adaptable, and she is willing to take up any ideas I have and roll with it, which is super good for me. I really bounce off of people who can bounce off of my ideas. It really is like I work really well with other people. I work well with others being. Sorry, thought I heard somebody coming in. I work really well when people are contributing ideas to me. I work on bouncing it off. It's just, I work with that kind of energy. So it made me really happy, really excited that I have a mentor teacher who has the same ideals I do, who values a good idea when she hears it, or depending on the teacher you have. But in my case, I am a she. And I really love my mentor teacher. I feel like God really, really tested my patience here. Enough to where he had everything sorted. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with dealing with the commute. And honestly, I don't mind the commute home. Because it gives me a chance to just sit back and think. If I'm not on the driver's seat, which I don't drive, so I don't, I find being on the bus very pleasant. Not at all. Welcome. Yeah, so I really just love the fact that I have a mentor teacher who values my ideas and is willing to work with me and really wants to hear what I have to say. So that's really nice. I'm gonna move on to Friday. Just talking about my long week. Showed up early, nothing new there. I did my presentation on Rick Morris. If you don't know who he is, just look it up on the internet. I'm not gonna do the whole spiel again, probably did in the earlier part of the stream / episode. Yeah, busy week. basically, I did my presentation. I showed pictures of what I was presenting for my part with my group. Not many reacted, but they did. But one did appreciate that I had the pictures that were, in. Basically, it was the concept of here's what the idea is, but here let me show you how practical it is in real life. And they appreciated that. And it makes sense because if I was in their shoes, you can talk all day, but how practical is it? I feel like that's mainly the question every time a student walks into a math class in high school. Why do we need to learn algebra? There's nothing important about algebra. Why do we need to learn about geometry? I don't understand that. I'm working to be a teacher. That's what my thing is. That I'm trying to be a teacher. I'm working into the credentials to be a teacher, and that's what the presentation was. It mainly was in a class where I'm working towards my goal to be a teacher in an elementary school setting. I had another class on Friday in the afternoon. It was so hard to stay awake. Yeah, it is. Especially when, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have to go to a school that I'm placed in. Monday mornings, I have Zoom class, so online. Math class, I think it's in person this week. It flip-flop. That one flip-flops a lot. Along with my Friday morning and afternoon class. So yeah. It's hard to juggle all those classes along with having to be in a physical classroom where you're being the student teacher, or at least working towards that right now. And the weeks can get really exhausting. Getting back to my point on that, last week, all the work from trying to help in the classroom, trying to get everybody's names straight, trying to get all my assignments straight, figuring out what other responsibilities I have to do, it piles on to where, excuse you, I get overwhelmed. And it started to show, because my Friday afternoon class, I feel so sorry for my professor, because he gets us at the very end, and all of us are usually exhausted, tired, or just trying to get through the last class before the weekend so we can just chill a little bit. And this past Friday, I just could not stay awake for the life of me. I was so tired, so out of it, so done. It was just like, yeah, no. My brain just said, yeah, Misa want to go nap now. That didn't happen until I got home and I passed out. I forgot to set a timer, because usually when I'm very tired, I usually try to time myself for a power nap, but I somehow just got so tired, I just slept. I slept for 1 hour and 30 minutes, because I was tired. I guess my body really got drained from just the weeks of just going, doing the same thing, doing the most boring thing, and then suddenly, just like, and I'm just like, yeah. That's my goal. To be this awesome teacher. And I got to like the end of my week, so I could just talk about any topic I want right now. And right now, I want to explain the kind of teacher I want to be. I want to be that teacher that is seen as like cool and passionate and awesome, but strict and caring. And my mentor teacher is both of these things to my eyes. Because her kids are very, they're normally well behaved. I haven't seen too many times where they misbehaved, so she really went through the first month structuring how the classroom works, and this month is more content, which is great for me because I get to see that, but also I see how well behaved they are, and not too many of them misbehave. So she has a good grip in the classroom, which is great because the last time I've had some kind of similar experience to this, not student teaching, but last time I was in like a classroom at all, did not. Okay, before that, there was a time where the classroom was so bad, so poorly managed, that it haunted my brain for so long because one of the kids said she was glad I was leaving, and it brought down my mood so much. But that class was so bad, so out of control, that a sub had better control than the actual teacher. By the way, don't let that ever happen. Yes, the substitute's great and all, but you got to have a teacher that has a good grip because you're dealing with these kids pretty much the entire day. You get them in the morning, you get them in the afternoon, and you have to deal with it. You have to deal with that. You can't just think that they know these things when they don't. You have to kind of build structure. You have to build a sort of relationship and understanding while also trying to teach them content. Which is why, in the pandemic, I have a feeling a lot of other parents and people started to have a better idea of why we teachers do what we do. Why it is so hard for us to teach. Why it's so hard for us. And we get not paid well at all. College professors, yes, but elementary teachers to preschool, yeah, no. Yeah, no. I think even junior high. Let's put it this way. I think preschool, out of any of them, get really paid less. Whereas elementary might be a little bit more, but I don't go into the field for money. That's not what this is about. I want to go into a career where I'm happy and it doesn't feel like work. I want to go into a field where I feel like I'm valued and I'm taken seriously. And that's what I feel like in my placement, is that I feel valued. I feel like myself. And a lot of times I feel like I've dealt with self-doubt. I've dealt with so much. I've dealt with I like to think of it as the darker side of emotions. The dark side of emotions. Yeah, it's 10 o'clock over here and I'm tired. Or at least my brain is saying I want to get this over with. I don't know. But it's nice to feel valued right now. It's nice to feel happy. It's nice to feel like, oh, thanks for the follow. Like I'm a person. Like I'm valued. Like I'm cared and respected. Anyway, still got a bit of time, so I think I'll segue into talking about one of my favorite video games, that is Kingdom Hearts. I am an OG fan. Yes, I know what that means, okay? Right now, I am fine. I just got off of reflecting on the week. I will be doing... I'll be putting this stream as a video on my YouTube channel, which you can find on my page somewhere, if you want to check back as to what I've been doing. Mainly, I've been doing podcasts, so this is just another podcast stream. And welcome. I'm just mainly looking back, sort of realizing how long the week felt. It felt like a month within a week. And I don't even know how that's possible because time's confusing. Very timey-wimey stuff. Yes, I just Doctor Who reference. You're welcome. Anyway, Kingdom Hearts. I love that game so much. I adore it to pieces. From finding out that Sora is on Smash Brothers. Now, I don't usually... When I first played Smash Brothers, I played Melee. I didn't have, like, a main too much. I don't know if I have a main there. But I do have a main on Brawl. And I'm wicked with Pit. If I have Pit or Dark Pit, you're done. I can survive. I can kick butt. Yeah, so I toyed around with other characters. But now that Sora's in the mix, run. Run. That's all I'm saying. Run. I know Sora's playstyle. I have a feeling I know what they're gonna do with Sora, and I think I will feel good with all the controls. Depending on what I use, anyway. I love Kingdom Hearts and the music to the story and the experience I get from it. From the gaming and everything else. My favorite one out of them, I haven't played 3. But I will. Eventually. If I can get past Chain of Memories. Okay. That's my least favorite, by the way. In terms of gaming mechanics, Chain of Memories is so annoying. Okay. It's strategy-based. And because it's strategy-based... Okay, fine. You can say that part of it has strategy, another part of it is luck, but overall, the card concept? No. I feel like they tried an idea and it didn't work. I do remember they tried to make it as a card game, and I think that was mainly because card games were popular around that time it came out. Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Was a concept. I feel like when Yu-Gi-Oh! Came in, card games just flood backed up. Like, everybody wanted to play card games again. Which is actually good marketing-wise, since I don't know how many people were playing card games back then. But it was through the roof. And when I saw Kingdom Hearts trying to get on that bandwagon, I don't remember. I don't think it lasted too long. It just didn't. Well. Yep. In this stream, this episode, this is my cat. My ever loving / dramatic cat. Come here, kitty. Come here. Say hi. Say hi to the world. Okay. Her name is Roxy. She is very, very vocal. She does not like it when I pick her up, but she knows that I do that because I love her. And yet we still argue like as if we're siblings anyway. But we are. So she does that. I think I'll just talk about the music for right now. Or no, I'll just talk about one of the games. Chain of Memories is not one of my favorites due to the card mechanic. It is super annoying, and you have to deal with strategy, which I want to get through it so I can get to the next part because I know 3 is lore based. I know it's heavy on the story. And everyone's like, oh, I just want to jump into 3. Like, I'm an OG fan. I know every single game is story related. People thought it wasn't. I knew better. I knew better. I'm too smart. I'm too smart. You think I don't see that? You think I don't know that? Of course I see that. All the time. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go. Just a little out of it, so I'm gonna go for it today. Or tonight. Hopefully I can get to next week. I might be doing it next Sunday. Though Halloween, no. I am most likely gonna take that week off. I might be either doing that early, or I might be just doing a 2-episode thing. Or maybe just one long episode. Maybe that's what I'll do. Put 2 weeks in 1 episode. Who knows? I'll think about it. But, if you like, this is the YouTube part. If you like what you see, like and subscribe. You know what to do. I don't have to tell you that. But it'll be nice. Anyway. See? Even Roxy says it too. Alright. As for Twitch, I will be putting this on YouTube. You can check out super_cat to find my YouTube channel. You can find this podcast episode under Teacher's Notes and find episodes there. And I'll end it with a fortune. 2 fortunes. Your clever mind will lead you to many rewards. And make time for what you love. And making time for Twitch. Okay. So, as far as the week of Halloween, I might do an episode. I may not do an episode. I might just skip it. And leave the notes for the week after. Depending on how long this is. Because I got busy things to do that weekend, and I think I'd rather just do a long stream, so who knows. Thank you for all the follows. Thank you for people who came by in the chat. I really appreciate it. I will think about how I'm gonna do these episodes a bit more, but thank you for coming. Bye. No. Bye.